All right, and welcome into the Betting Pros College Football Show. It's another beautiful day to take a lap around the nation as we give you our top picks and predictions for Week 7 of the college football season. I'm your host, Seth Woolcock, and today I'm joined by a man who has gone from the heel of this particular program to the hero with the hot bat that he has been swinging, Terrell Furman Jr. How are you, my friend?
Woo-wee! How about them hogs? How about them hogs? Oh, man. I mean, shout out to my guy, Bridge. He stormed the field. I have pictures. I have
let's
evidence.
go.
He did storm the field with the group. And, you know, of course, they got to pay Tennessee a nice little, I think it was $250 large, because this is their second offense. But you know what? We pay for wins around here. We pay for wins. Let's go.
Awesome. Good to have you and your energy here on the program today, Terrell. We're also joined by the anchor of Betting Pros college football content. He's Scott Bogman. Scott, how are you feeling? We're midweek, just a few days away from another massive slate of collegiate football.
How about Anchor Down, baby? Also, Vandy over Bama. That was a fun one as well. So, yeah, man,
Diego
I am ready
Pavia.
to. Yeah, Diego, baby, he did talk to God. Who knows? I mean, he was unbelievably impressive. So was Vandy, and Vandy is not a joke anymore. And that's parity in college football, man. It's getting the transfer portals open it up, NIL is open it up. So we're seeing a lot more parity, which makes these games a little bit more difficult to pick on a week-to-week basis, but makes college football a lot more fun. So, enjoyable weekend, and this has been marked off since the beginning of the season this weekend, October 12th. Hope no one you know is getting married, because it's going to be a huge day.
Yeah, fall weddings need to be outlawed. I've said that before. I do not care.
Why do you not have like buried in the cold anyway? Who wants to?
Yeah. I mean, it's beautiful.
I want a nice, warm, beautiful day when I get married. Wife, if you're listening to this, nice, beautiful day. No football season weddings. I will veto them. You will you'll be the only person there.
Yes, agreed. And before we jump in, I did want to remind everyone about the Betting Pros Discord. Looking to up your game in sports betting? Join our exclusive sports betting Discord community at bettingpros.com/chat. Not only can you connect with expert handicappers who provide free picks for NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, player props, live betting, and more, but you can also now participate in our weekly community picks. You can cast your vote and see how your picks stack up against the experts and track your success. I'll tell you what, if you're stacking up against me last week, boys, you definitely probably won. So make sure you guys are getting over there in the Discord. And let's move to the action here in Tempe, Arizona, where on Friday night, the unranked Sun Devils have now moved to 6.5-point dogs against the 16th ranked Utah Utes. This line has moved 3 points since our early week show. The Betting Pros projections are now showing a value on Arizona State here. And this line has been closer, or should be probably closer to a 4.5-point spread is what the Betting Pros projections are telling us here. We have no inkling on whether it will be the seventh-year quarterback Cam Rising. That water cooler took him out way back when on September 7th. And we do know that Arizona State running back Cam Scabato will be at full strength here after battling illness last week. Bogman, does this line movement make you more inclined to back the Sun Devils here on Friday night? The underdog sweat has worked for us in previous Friday nights, so can we go back in on it?
Yeah, I think you can. And this is a game where I look at this and I go, okay, I think Utah should control the line of scrimmage on both sides. But ASU has been pretty good. ASU's strength of schedule has been tough as well, and they've been doing a good job so far, 4-1 against the spread. Utah is 2-3 against the spread. I think probably the mindset is we're giving Utah a little bit too much leeway here. And I think this opening up 3 points, when it was 3.5, I was like, okay, I'll take Utah on the road to beat ASU, even in a hot game, I'm sure, for everybody in Tempe. But in this game, I think my favorite play is shifted to the under. I think we're going to see some defense. We're not getting Cam Rising. I don't think Cam Rising plays again. I think he's done. So I don't think we're getting him here. I think it's going to be Isaac Wilson again, who has been good, but not great. I think Utah can be beat through the air, but it's not typically what Sam Leavitt and this Arizona State offense does. As you mentioned, they're led by Cam Scatterbo, and I think that's going to be the plan. So I think this is going to be a little bit of a field position back and forth game. So I like the under a little bit more than I like anything else here. Probably not going to have too much action on this game. Maybe just a little bit because it is a Friday game, just to get a little skin in the game. I'll have on the under, but it's not going to be a huge bet.
Terrell, you have made it very clear that you love this Utah team. Do you feel the same here now that they are 4-1 and that it is Isaac Wilson potentially suiting back up here for the start on Saturday or Friday, excuse me?
What kind of question is that? Of course I love the Utah Utes here. What are we talking about? They are coming off of a loss with a week to prepare. Yes, I understand it. Cam Rising is giving us a whirlwind of emotions, but if Cam Rising plays in this game, this should be 10. Easily, if he plays, this should be 10. It's not going to be enough. And despite him not wanting to play and whatever the water cooler did to his hand that put him out for this long, the fact is they haven't needed him. They've been handling business till then. Yes, they went ahead and got upset by Arizona, but that's fine. That's fine. Now we're getting this Utah team off of a loss, and Scatabo going up against this Utah front seven? Oh, no way. There is not a chance. They're going to run this through the water. This is Utah laying 6 all day. Boggs, I'm disappointed. You should be betting this with me.
No way. I'm not. I think it's too many points. You haven't been watching ASU.
They're not Utah.
They're not Utah. But I think they're physical enough. They're at home. It's a weird game. I think they have enough to stay in this game and make it a field goal game. I don't particularly like this game, which is why I said I'm not going to have a huge lay on it one way or the other. I'm probably going to do half a unit on the under. That way I can enjoy. If you're right, that's great. I hope ASU scores no points. If I'm right, I hope it's 13-10. So it doesn't matter to me. I'm going to be on the under here.
I tried to get Boggs to come to the dark side. No. Are you with me? Are you with me, Seth? Are you coming to the dark side? Come on. You have to be betting Utah with me.
Dude, every time I bet a favorite on Friday night, it ends very poorly for me, Terrell. So that's why I'm more inclined.
You don't bet. You stay off of it, and we'll just go ahead and take the cash here. Of course.
You don't want your bad juju on my bet, Seth.
Last 4 meetings.
Go ahead.
Utah won its last 4 meetings. Let's go. Utah all day.
Okay. All right, yeah. Nothing says start your Friday with betting the under. I think that'll be a fun one for you, Boggs. I think that'll get your juices flowing on Friday night.
And then we're gonna bet Northwestern. That's gonna be the dog that cashes. It's not Utah.
Okay.
Or Arizona. It's not Arizona. We're gonna bet Northwestern. That's the dog that cashes. Watch.
All right. I like it.
For the people, by the way. Watch.
They made that game against Indiana pretty close last week. Northwestern did. They had a little bit more on offense.
Loxley laying double digits on Friday night? No way. No way.
I think I'm with you there.
Let's move right into the Saturday afternoon slate here in the Steel City, where the 22nd ranked and undefeated Pitt Panthers battle Cal, coming off that heartbreak loss to Miami. Pitt 5-0 against the spread, Cal 4-1 against the spread. And we've actually seen this spread shrink a bit since our Monday show. You can now get Pitt as 3-point favorites. That's right where the BettingPros projections think this game should be as well. Pitt should have everyone active who's gotten them this far in this game. Also, the notable injuries for Cal include starting running back Jaden Ott. He is probable. And then also their starting right guard and nickelback remain questionable in this one as well. Terrell, where do you lean here in this game in Western Pennsylvania?
Well, as somebody who's laser focused right now on this Cal squad, and another ACC call in to just make sure that we didn't get Cal money line there. But you know what? It's all right. It's cool. Cal, hey, I said it last week when Virginia Tech got hosed. I was fading Miami the next week. Cal got it done, and then see what Virginia Tech did that week after they got hosed. In an ACC game, they went cross country on the road and absolutely destroyed Stanford. Yes, another cross country slot, West Coast team going over to the East Coast, early morning game. I understand all of it, but I also have to throw this for you. If all of the money and everybody is betting Pitt, why does this line keep falling towards Cal? What do they know that we don't know? I think that this Cal team and Miami is the perfect get-up spot. It gave them confidence. They're about to go in here and give Narduzzi a whirlwind. I mean, a whirlwind in an early game slate. Cal's been really, really good in the ACC this year, guys. I love this Cal addition to the ACC. Give me Cal plus the point. Sprinkle on the money line all day.
Bogman, where are you at here in this one?
I'm going the complete opposite. 5-0 against the spread. Pitt Panthers. I think they keep rolling here at home. And look, I like Cal. I think Cal is a good team, and I think if this is a neutral site game, a bowl game, or something, I would probably be taking Cal here. But this is a letdown spot after a bad loss. I know Va Tech went and won their game against Stanford. Stanford is not as good as Pitt. Also, I think Va Tech has woke up in that game against Miami. I think we kind of saw them sleepwalking through this first beginning part of the season there, and now they're that team, that offseason darling that everybody thought. I don't think Cal's quite there yet, and the big difference in this game to me is going to be plays over 10 yards, and I think Pitt has too much on offense. Right now, they're 13th in the nation with 95 plays over 10 yards. Cal is 95th with 73 10-plus yard plays allowed right now. Cal also 94th in tackle grade. And when you're traveling that much, you already tackle poorly. Pitt is clicking on all cylinders on offense. I like Pitt, and I'm going to lay the points here. I also like the over in this game because I do think Cal is going to be able to score. Pitt's defense has kind of been hit or miss. And we saw that game against, I picked the under in Cal and Miami, and that did not go my way last week, although I was over 500, thank God, again last week. But, in this game, I just think Pitt has too much offense for Cal. Please don't come after me, Calgorithm. I still think you guys are very, very good, but I think this is a tough spot. So
let's go,
for me,
Calgorithm.
The Calgorithm, man. The Calgorithm is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
They need a marquee. They need a marquee ACC win. This is it.
I mean, look, this is it. If they get it, this is it, Terrell. You're absolutely right. But for me in this game, I got to take Pitt and lay the points.
Okay, and before we keep it moving, don't forget to join our college football podcast group. You can sync your picks and use our quick pick feature on the BettingPros sports betting app to get a chance to win some free prizes. Who doesn't love free prizes? Elevate your betting strategy and join the conversation today at bettingpros.com/college. From one Pennsylvania team to another, it's the fourth-ranked Nittany Lions who remain a 4.5-point favorite as they travel to Southern California to battle the 3-2 USC Trojans. BP projections like this line a little bit closer to a 5.5-point game, so there actually might be some slight value here on the Nittany Lions. James Franklin said this week that as long as there's no setbacks, he expects Nick Singleton to go in this one. Quote, "We're very confident," and I think that Nick's very confident that he will be ready to go. Meanwhile, USC still has questionable tags to tight end Lake McRee and linebacker Eric Gentry. Bogman, are you ready to lay the 4.5 points on Penn State here now that Singleton looks like he'll be back in the mix? We did hear this week from Franklin that the team will already have to travel not just over to the West Coast, but to Harrisburg 2 hours. They don't have a long enough runway for this plane here, so go to Harrisburg for 2 hours on a bus and then get on the plane to go out to Cal. So long road trip for the boys, but is that anything off your back there?
Not really. I mean, it is extra weird. We got to go to Harrisburg to fly the bigger plane to go to California is strange, and it throws off your routine and everything. So I get it. That is weird, but I think we're getting a little bit too much into the weeds when we're looking at that stuff. For me, this boils down to USC's defense, and they are better defensively than they were thought to be coming in and what we expected from them. But they're still 87th in rush yards allowed. They're 13th in passing yards allowed. But that is because they faced Michigan, who's 130th in passing, Wisconsin, who's 78th. And the one time they did play a top 10 passing offense in LSU, they gave up 300 yards. USC just doesn't get enough pressure on the quarterback either. Only 5 sacks this season. Drew Allar is doing a much better job passing the ball this season, and Penn State is getting Nick Singleton back. I think there is a pretty big mismatch between the Penn State defensive line and the USC offensive line here as well. Penn State 5th in PFF's pass rush grade, 13 sacks in 5 games. USC passes the ball 63.2% of the time, and Penn State got to Luke Altmaier 7 times in that win. So this is a game where I see Penn State being able to run the ball. USC is at home, so it's not my favorite bet of the week, but I will take Penn State and lay the points here.
Let's go, Terrell. I know you've been one to fade Penn State a time or two. Are you doing it again here?
Nah, I like Penn State here. I think they're going to control the line of scrimmage. I don't think this USC offense and Lincoln Riley are ready for this big smash mouth Big Ten defense that they're about to face in Penn State. And this is a James Franklin special. James Franklin kind of dominates these games earlier in the season, as you should know, Seth. It's just when he gets to Ohio State later
Yeah.
in the season is when he lets down. And guess what? They don't even have Ohio State on deck. They got to bye, and then they get Wisconsin and then Ohio State. It's plenty of time before that. This is just a beautiful scheduling spot. If this was the week before Ohio State, I'd be all over USC, but no way. I'm taking Penn State later points.
Okay, I like to hear it here. Let's move forward to the Red River Showdown, which will take center stage at the Texas State Fair as the number 1 Texas Longhorns are favored by 14 points over the 18th ranked Sooners. BP projections have this line right where it is. Quinn Ewers is expected to start for Texas, but they do have some injury question marks around backup running backs Trey Wisner and Jarrett Gibson. Also, starting safety Michael Tafee is on the questionable injury report as well. Oklahoma has been hit more by the injury bug than probably any other SEC team. They were missing their top 5 wide receivers the last time out. They also have a slew of defensive players injured, including cornerback Woody Washington and linebacker Dasan McCullough. This is already after losing one of their best defensive backs, Kendall Dolby, for the season. With that said, Terrell, can Oklahoma get up in this spot at the Cotton Bowl?
Oh, well, last week we had Matt Sargent Bridge that, he stormed the field and Arkansas got it done. Big Arkansas fan. Shout out to him. On that deployment, then Tech Sergeant, now Master Sergeant Basinger, was a huge Oklahoma fan. Horns down, let's go. We get another 14. Come on, I believe in divine intervention. That line was the same line last week. And you're telling me the 2 guys that were most influential in my deployment, who were big fans, both are going to be at the game, are what? I have to bet this. And then plus this is Oklahoma's Super Bowl. This is it. We've seen 2 number 1 seeds go down already this season. And so now it's an opportunity for a third. I think that we're going to see a lot more of these upsets of big dogs in college football with the new college football playoff that is going to be kicking off this season, and everybody is now extended field. People say, hey, our season's not over. We can go out there. We can play for it. You add the transfer portal as well, which is even the odds between some of these schools as well. I think this is a game they absolutely get up for. They're a lot healthier. They had an extra week to prepare, get healthy, all of that. I love Oklahoma here to pull the upset. Nobody's on our side, but Boomer Sooner, baby. Let's go.
Plus 490 on the money line, then, I take it?
Oh, absolutely. The plus 475 cash last week, we got to sprinkle there.
Okay. How do you feel about it, Bogman? We're not sure if those wide receivers will be out there or what this defense is going to look like for Oklahoma that's really been carrying them thus far this season.
By the way, Terrell, no one's on your side. The public is betting Oklahoma. The cash and the tickets are all on Oklahoma, plus the points here. So, the people are on your side.
It's 48%. 48%.
No, I'm looking at it live right now. It's 64%. So both ways
is that
towards
tickets
Oklahoma.
or that's tickets and I got
Both.
48% tickets and 52% money. Sharps on Oklahoma.
I'm looking at it live, so maybe we've got conflicting numbers here. But look, I've watched this game for 25 straight years. Don't bet the game itself because it can go either way. This game is insane. Look, Texas has been better than Oklahoma for a little bit now, and Oklahoma's 7-3 in the last 10 years in this game. Terrell is absolutely right. This game is nuts. Both teams get up for it. But I will say this. I've never seen Texas in a bigger advantage in this game than they are right now. Oklahoma has nothing on offense. They've got nothing right now. Maybe it's going to come back. I mean, Hawkins had a big play in the 4th against Auburn, but the pick 6 is what won them that game.
Right.
And like I said before, I think Oklahoma's defense is a national title defense. I think it is. But their offense is bottom of the Power 4 for sure right now. Maybe the 2 weeks off, like Terrell said, give them a little bit of a spark here. I don't think so. Texas is number 1 in coverage. So if Texas gets up, I think it's going to be hard for Oklahoma to come back as well. So I just think there's more paths to a Texas victory here. So if I had to pick this game, I would say I would take Texas and lay the points. this game is always insane. It's crazy. I would say don't bet it. I'll tell you one bet that I do like is I like the under 25.5 in the first half. We got Quinn Ewers coming back off of injury, missing the last couple weeks and a bye week. So maybe he comes in a little bit rusty. He did last year in this game. He came back rusty and he threw a pick early. So I think that is a possibility. I still don't think Oklahoma has enough on offense to contend here. Maybe they do. Maybe they get some of these wide receivers back
Super
healthy.
Bowl.
It is their Super Bowl. It is a tough game either way. But I don't know. I think Texas is different this year, and even different than last year. And they were in the playoff last year, so I think this is a better Texas team. I again, this is probably too many points giving to Oklahoma. I will freely admit that. There's no way I would take Oklahoma on the money line, but I am a Texas homer, so take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
My question for you, Boggs, is this the best chance Texas has to lose the rest of the season?
No, they play Georgia next week.
So a look ahead to Georgia.
A look ahead. Texas ain't looking ahead past Oklahoma. I can tell you that much right now.
Okay.
That is not
all right. Georgia.
It doesn't mean they're going to win. Like I said, this game is crazy. But they are not looking. They're not looking ahead to Georgia. They are paying attention to Oklahoma right now because if you lose this game, it's embarrassing, especially with this point spread.
But if you beat Georgia. If you beat Georgia,
they lost to Oklahoma last year, Terrell. So, if they had beat Oklahoma into the dirt last year, maybe I would say this team is confident going forward. They beat them last year, whatever. They were embarrassed last year. They remember it. They had a bye week too, and I guarantee you that game was playing in the facility all day long. So everybody would remember that loss from last year. They're going to come to play.
Yeah. So if Oklahoma, because again, 7-3 last 10 years. Thank you for that nugget. Didn't realize that. But if Oklahoma wins, do we just throw everything on Texas next week with Georgia coming to town?
I don't think so, because that's a tough game. That is a very tough game, both sides for Texas and Georgia. So I think that game is a coin flip. I think this one is better than a coin flip for Texas, but probably not 14.5. So, like I said, if I had to make a pick, which I don't, I would lay the points. Give me that under in the first half. That's the one I like.
I'm also kind of the mindset to stay away from this game. The books are already offering some boost for it as well. So they want you to get invested with it because it could go either way here. So I will be staying away as well. But Terrell, I respect the guts as always, my friend. Someone's got to have them here on this program, and it is you here today again.
The public has them too. Don't feel sympathy for Terrell.
I don't believe Boggs. This is not a public play. I had the sharp money coming in on Oklahoma.
Okay. Let's go on to the primetime slate where it opens up in Knoxville with the 8th-ranked Volunteers continuing to lay 15 points on the Florida Gators. But not only did Tennessee suffer their first loss to Arkansas last week, they also got hit by injury in that game. Starting wide receivers Brew McCoy and Squirrel White, both questionable coming into this one, as is starting defensive tackle Bryson Eason. Notable injuries for the Gator includes only second-stringers running back Trayon Webb and tight end Tony Livingston. So a little bit healthier of a Gator squad compared to the notable players that are banged up for Tennessee here. Terrell, I know you're a trends guy here. The Gators, they've won 8 of the last 10 against the Vols. Are you jumping on to continue to see this 2 QB system potentially work for Florida against a big opponent here?
All right, so not to brag or anything, this was before my time with BettingPros, but on another network that I worked for, I did take Florida last time out plus 5.5 against Tennessee and cashed at home. Thank you very much on the money line. This is not the spot. Graham Mertz. This is not the spot. Graham Mertz on the road? Absolutely not. The only reason I backed Graham Mertz in that game because it was early in the season. At home, they ran the football really well. It was good. No, Graham Mertz on the road? Absolutely not. I'm not. And he's off a win? Graham Mertz off a win on the road? No way. I am not backing Graham Mertz against Tennessee here. This is the spot where Tennessee just has their get-up game and absolutely destroys Florida. Tennessee all day.
Boggs, I think you kind of share that same sentiment here because you said earlier this week, if you have 2 quarterbacks, do you really even have one?
Yeah, I mean, Mertz got more last week, but I just how how can you count on Graham Mertz in a game against Tennessee? And I can't do it. Graham Mertz has a big discrepancy in passing in a clean pocket and passing under pressure. And the things that the teams that they lost to or beat the last 2 weeks, Mississippi State, UCF, do not put pressure on the quarterback. Tennessee, maybe they have problems on offense. Mm-hmm. Maybe they don't score a lot of points in this game. I'm more than willing to concede that and say maybe Nico is a little bit in over his head as a first-year starter and all of that. I don't care. Graham Mertz is going to get murdered back there. Tennessee is going to eat him alive. And obviously there's a lot off the field going on in Florida as well. So you're going to have some distracted players also. So it's a tough spot for Florida in this game. I think Tennessee massacres them. I don't think this is a very close one.
Okay. We also have an all-ranked affair in Baton Rouge as the 13th ranked LSU Tigers will be hosting the 9th ranked Ole Miss Rebels here. Lane Kiffin has had this one circled on his calendar all offseason, but he does have a major injury to deal with here. Wide receiver Trey Harris is banged up coming into this one. He is currently questionable. This guy already has 52 receptions this season. He is a cog in this offense. LSU has battled their own injuries this season. They already lost 3 players to season enders, and now they have the following question marks coming into Saturday. Running back Caden Durham, our wide receiver C.J. Daniels, wide receiver Chris Hilton, who is yet to play this season, and cornerback Zay Alexander. Ole Miss, they are still laying 3.5 points in this game. BP systems are showing this should probably be closer to a 5-point line, and then there actually may be some value on the Rebels. Do you agree with that, Bogman?
I do, and I know this is the game where everyone looks at it, and if you want to talk trends, which I don't know if Terrell has this one pocketed here, but they play this game every year. Mm-hmm. And Ole Miss has not won in Baton Rouge since 2008. I mean,
oh really? Wow.
Yeah, it has been a long time. This is under the lights as well, so this seems like a curse spot. But I'm gonna take the Rebs and lay the points. I like the under more. So okay. I'll say that if I'm making one play in this game, it is the under.
It's a big total, yeah.
Yeah, 63.5 is a lot of points. And the reason I like the under is because what you mentioned before, Trey Harris leading the country in receiving yards right now, probably not going to play. Is if we're reading between the lines, Lane Kiffin said, well, he wouldn't play today if the game was today, that's for sure. You're never going to get a reasonable injury report from Lane Kiffin. He's a joke. He's like Bill Belichick when he started doing it, enforcing it in the NFL and fined the Patriots for it. Every player is probable, questionable, or doubtful. It's just absurd. So when you look at...
They also fake injuries as well.
Yeah, yes, they do, and it's been a big thing in South Carolina. Shane Beamer, I believe, complained about it as well. They've been very outspoken about it, and his first thing with a big grin is, well, I hope those guys are okay. And he said, also, we had a couple guys go down. He admitted, we do it too. Just enforce a rule on it. It's getting to be ridiculous. But LSU's defense, their secondary is rough. Ole Miss couldn't hit big plays against Kentucky, but LSU is 93rd in passing yards allowed and 112th in coverage grade. Ole Miss is likely missing Trey Harris, but the pass rush is great. 15 sacks this season and 13th pass rush grade on PFF for LSU. So the pass rush grade is great, but if you give Jackson Dart too many, one Mississippi, 2 Mississippis to throw, he will beat you even without Trey Harris. And the other thing here is Ole Miss, yes, they lost to Kentucky, but Ole Miss defense still has not had a bad game. Their defense is so good this year. Number 1 in overall defensive grade. They lead the country in sacks. LSU has only allowed 2 sacks this year, but they face an FCS team, and then USC, who hasn't been getting a lot of sacks, UCLA and South Alabama. These teams all have 6 sacks or less in their 5 games. Prince Umana, I'm going to try it. Umanamilian is questionable.
Okay, there you go.
But this team has a lot of depth, and they sacked Sellers 6 times last week without Princely. So I think Ole Miss's defense is too much. I think this line is probably not big enough. But this is under the lights game in Baton Rouge. So if you want to take LSU and take the points or take them on the money line because of what this game has been recently, I completely understand that. That's why I like the under 63.5 is my play here.
What about you, Terrell?
Get your popcorn ready. What? Wait, I don't know. This is Lane. This is Lane in a very, very big game. And when Lane has a game circled on his schedule, he pulls out all of the stops. And LSU, are we 100% certain that LSU is a good team? I mean, I know I backed them in the past, but
I have never said they were a good team. Never on any public airwaves.
I will say,
that.
I will say, you were definitely on them when they didn't cover against UCLA, and I think UCLA is horrible. So that is just fresh on the mind. I'm not really big on South Carolina. They have some okay spots, but they really blew that South Carolina game and had to come back and try to win it. Like they lost the USC game. Like Brian Kelly is just blowing these games, and I'm just tired of putting money on them. Honestly, that's what it is for me. I understand the they haven't won in Baton Rouge in a long time, and that's an amazing stat. Brian Kelly is the coach to ruin that, 100%. So yeah, I'm taking Lane in a circle game. A game that Lane circles is kind of scary. So I'm going to take Lane Kiffin here. And it's because he plays Georgia later in the year, and I just don't think he's going to win that one. So he's got to win one of these.
Okay, and before we continue, I wanted to tell you about Fast Break Bets. If you like betting on basketball, the season is just around the corner, and host Terrell Furman Jr. is on the Fast Break Bets podcast every single day, giving you your daily dose of basketball betting picks in 15 minutes or less. Tune in daily for your rapid-fire fix of all things basketball, from the W to the NBA to college basketball and more. Check out the Fast Breaks Bets podcast at the BettingPros YouTube channel or wherever you listen to your podcast today. All right, and let's get to the game that everyone's been waiting for. Number 2, Ohio State on the road in Eugene, Oregon to face the number 3 Oregon Ducks. It feels like neither of these teams has honestly played their best ball yet, and they also have no major injuries on either side of the ball as well coming into this one. College game day will be there, so we know it will be a long day for those Oregon Duck fans out there. BettingPros is showing just about a point of value on Ohio State, who are laying 3 points currently. Is that where you're putting your money as well, Terrell?
They're so public. But this Oregon team has just not played to expectation.
Right? Yeah. Every week.
At all. Last week I was on Michigan State plus the points. I had a Michigan State I had a Michigan State ticket, and I'm over here trying to figure out how I won. How did I win? Well, 2 end zone interceptions will 100% do it for you. I mean, I just don't know. How do you feel comfortable in Dylan Gabriel? Another team that has yet to cover against UCLA. Come on, this UCLA team is not good. You know what? I'm just going to spend this day. I'm going to continue to spend this day fading teams that didn't cover against UCLA. I feel like that's a pretty good system, and I'm going to
pretty good strategy right there. I like that one.
Like I'm just gonna. But it's also a revenge game for Ryan Day, because I was in Vegas 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? 3 years ago? No, 3 years ago. 2021. 3 years ago, I was in Vegas, and I watched this Oregon team walk into the horseshoe and get a win. What? Ryan Day remembers that. He remembers that. He only loses to Michigan. This Oregon team threw him for a loop when he lost to them. He really only loses to Michigan.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
Yeah. I'm taking Ohio State. I'm rolling with the public. The public wins sometimes.
All right, Bogman, how do you feel about this big one?
Yeah, I don't like this game either. I'll say this: forced to make a pick, I'll take Ohio State and lay the points. And the difference being that we saw JT run against this Oregon defense here, and you have Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins coming in. Like it's not a good formula. If you can't stop the run, you are going to get gashed in this game. But you know what? Let's go with another first half under in this game. It's 26.5 to start, and we saw Ohio State do it last week, which made me mad because I had the over in that game against Iowa. They only put up 7 points in the first half. I think week 1, they only put up 17 points in the first half against Akron. They slowed down against Michigan State late as well. They took the foot off the gas there. So I don't think we've seen Ohio State play a full game yet.
No.
So maybe this is the game where they come out, you have to have you're not holding anything back in this game. It's all coming out. Your strategy, you put it all on film for every other team to see because you need every trick in the book to win this game. It's going to be a tough one on the road against Oregon, and that's why I don't really like a bounce in a game of this magnitude can go the other way. I do think, like Terrell said, if the bounce goes one way, it's probably going to be towards Ohio State. Dylan Gabriel has turned the ball over a little bit. He's new here. So
He took some shots last week, too. Dylan Gabriel took some shots.
He did. So, maybe he's coming in at less than 100% as well. So I like Ohio State in this game, but my favorite play is, just banking on Ohio State to be somewhat conservative in the first half. Also against Marshall, they let Marshall hold the ball for 5 minutes and run down the field and score against them too. So, they haven't started out hot in many games this year. So I like the under to start this game in the first half, under 26.5.
Okay. It's also a huge weekend in Morgantown, West Virginia, as the 3-2 Mountaineers welcome the undefeated and 11th ranked Iowa State Cyclones. The Cyclones have the Big 12's top scoring defense, and they have done it with linebackers that were absolutely buried on the depth chart. Like, I'm talking, these were their linebackers that were 9, 10, 11 on the depth chart, and they're continuing to make it work here. And it did take some time for Garrett Green, CJ Donaldson, Jaheim White, and company to get this West Virginia running game going, but they are going now. They do have defensive back Aubrey Banks as the only known injury question mark coming in for West Virginia that we are aware of. Bogman, this spread is tightened up to 2.5 points at some shops where the BettingPros projections are actually showing now some value on the Cyclones. I know you and I were both interested in West Virginia earlier in the week, but does this line movement scare you off it?
Not really. I kind of like West Virginia on the money line here. This is a difficult place to travel and play. Iowa State's one of the most well-coached teams in the country, though. Matt Campbell's a great coach. So I expect them to be ready. So let's just take the over in this game. I think it's too low. It's 53 right now. Is that the number that you had, Seth, was 53?
Yeah, I have 53.5, 52.5, so I'm getting various tickets in there.
So right in the middle there, somewhere in that neighborhood. And this is because I don't know that many teams are going to be able to stop West Virginia. We did see Penn State do that, but Penn State is a national title contender. Even though Iowa State ranks 11 here, I don't think that they're going to be a national title contender. Maybe, they have a shot to win the Big 12 for sure. This is a big game for them. But I like the over in this game. WVU, 10th nationally in offensive grade, 14th in rushing yards per game, averaging 33 points per game. Iowa State, 67th in rush yards allowed. They also grade 91st in PFS run defensive grade. WVU, still a top 25 pace of play, averaging 73.5 points per game here. And it's not, Iowa State doesn't have the best offense, but they've been a better passing offense than they have been traditionally this year. WVU only has 11 sacks in 5 games. They're 80th in pass rush grade. They're terrible in coverage at 99th in pass yards allowed and 126th in coverage grade as well. So for me, I think this game goes back and forth point for point. And I think I kind of like West Virginia on the money line, but more than that, I like the over.
Terrell, I know you do not like fading West Virginia at home here. How do you feel about it at night as well, giving those Mountaineer fans a couple extra hours to pregame this one?
Oh, this sucks. Why do I?
That's
have
why
to
this
pick
is a
this?
good week. It's because every game is going to be close.
Because I love Morgantown. This place lights couches on fire. Like, come on. Who does that? Why a couch? Why was the couch the item that we decided we were going to light on fire? Like, how do I fade you in a night game, but on the other side? It's Rocco Beck, man. I can't fade my savior Rocco Beck, the Rocco Beck that got me the win at Iowa. I gotta fade the Rocco Beck that has been 4-0 ATS his past 4 games. 4-0 ATS his past 4 games. That Rocco Beck. How do I have to fade one or the other?
You don't
so tough.
Take the over.
I like the over. I like that over. That's a sharp play.
Like the over. Rocco Beck is definitely going to be able to put points up on West Virginia, and I think the Morgantown is going to give that West Virginia offense the courage that they need. So I do like the over. But come on, I pick every game. Give me West Virginia. Rocco has to take a loss, and then that loss is going to propel him for the rest of the season as Iowa State makes the playoff, baby. Rocco Beck, let's go.
Okay. All right. So to be
They're
clear,
in the playoff right now.
Look, who knows what's going to happen in the Big 12. It has been up and down and crazy so far this year, so anybody can make it out of there.
Including these two teams we're going to talk about next here. We'll round out the program with the 18th ranked Kansas State Wildcats taking on the surging Colorado Buffaloes in Boulder at 10:15 Eastern time on Saturday night. Injuries for Kansas State include nose guard Yuso Siamalu and tight end Braden Lofton. They're both questionable in this one. Meanwhile, Colorado is getting healthy at the right time. Shiloh Sanders, quote, is ready according to Coach Prime, and the defense should be at full strength for the first time in weeks. BettingPros projections, as well as Bogman and I, like Colorado when this line was 6.5 earlier this week. Should we still feel the same at the current 4.5 point line that is being offered to us, Terrell?
Oh, absolutely, because Avery Johnson on the road hasn't looked good at all.
Yeah.
I mean, even in the win against Tulane, he didn't look good. And Tulane was a horrible referee call, a horrible referee call from in that Tulane game. They would have lost that game. They would have lost. So I just, you got to prove it to me that Avery Johnson can take this Kansas State team away from Kansas State and be able to put together 4 good quarters of football. Whereas Colorado, I think they have every reason to get up for this game. They have been getting embarrassed in the Big 12. They have been getting embarrassed in conference. Yes. Like, we could talk about it last season. They've been getting embarrassed. And now you get a top 25 team coming back into Boulder and you get a chance to put them down. You absolutely take the opportunity. The defense is healthier. That nose guard being out, I think, is really, really big, because if they are able to get pressure on Avery Johnson, I just think he's going to look like a deer in headlights all day. And ultimately what it is for me, because I think it is going to be point for point, the defense for Colorado has Travis Hunter. That's what it is. They have Travis Hunter. And so Travis Hunter, when I need a big play, I know Travis Hunter is going to give me a big play on both sides of the ball. So I'm a man on a Buffalo. Give me the Colorado Buffaloes on the money line.
Okay, money line currently, I think, plus 155 for the Buffs. Are you going that direction as well here, Bogman?
Lock it up. Agreement 100% all the way through with Terrell. But let me give you some stats on the other side of the ball, because for me, what the big difference on this game is going to be what Kansas State is doing on defense, which is nothing in the pass rush grade. 127th in pass rush grade so far.
Wow,
they have 12 sacks on the season. They do. But 4 were against Tennessee Martin, an FCS school. 5 were against Tulane. Against the P4 teams, they had 0 against OK State, 2 against BYU, and 1 versus Arizona. So they are not getting at home at all. And if you give Sanders time to throw the ball back there, he is going to pick you apart. Let me tell you about another team that is not passing or not rushing the passer well enough right now. It's UCF. And they gave up 48 points to Colorado last week. I think we're going to see more of the same here. And not only, I will also echo these bad road games that Terrell mentioned about Kansas State, also elevation in Colorado, which they did not handle in BYU at all. So maybe not as bad as Provo, but I mean, it's still at elevation here. So K-State, a different team at home and on the road. I think that trend continues, specifically because they do not blitz enough, and Shedeur Sanders is going to sit back there and pick them apart. So I like Colorado on the money line as well. I don't know why K-State is favored here.
Okay, I like it. I'm going to ride with you guys. I think that'll make it 3 for 3 on the Colorado upset there. And that'll do it for us today on the Betting Pros College Football Show. We greatly appreciate everyone tuning in with us. Bogman, he'll be back later in the week with more best bets and some player props as well. Until then, like this video if you enjoy it. Subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel and the podcast feed. Plus, download that Betting Pros app and make sure you are syncing your sportsbooks today. For Scott Bogman and Terrell Furman, I'm Seth Woolcock. Thanks for watching. Take care, y'all.